Today we are starting part 1 of 3 of looking at different properties of some quadrilaterals. So that means all of these shapes we're about to look at will have 4 sides. So we'll look at 2 per day for a total of 6 different quadrilaterals. So the first 2 that we are going to look at are going to be rectangles and parallelograms. So first we're going to start with a parallelogram. Each shape you'll see the name, a picture, and then we'll list out properties or characteristics of those shapes. So here we have a parallelogram, and you can see it kind of looks like a rectangle, but it's slanted. So here is what some of these properties are for a parallelogram. Our first property is that our diagonals bisect each other, which means they cut in half. So if I have one diagonal that goes from corner all the way across to the other corner, and then from corner all the way across to the other corner. So that means that this piece and this piece are equal, and this piece and this piece are equal. So 1 and 2 may be different, but 1 and 1 are the same. 2 and 2 are the same. All right. Property number 2 is that our same side angles, that's our symbol for angle, equal 180 degrees. So same side angles, actually, y'all know me and my colors. Let's try this again. Same side angles equal 180 degrees. So we've talked about same side angles way back in the fall. So that means it's 2 angles on the same side of the shape. They will add to equal 180. So that means if I have an angle here, and I call this angle 1, and I have an angle here, and I call that angle 2, what that means is angle 1 plus angle 2 will equal 180 degrees. So we can add those 2 to get 180 degrees. Then another property with our angles is that our opposite angles are equal. There we go. So that means if angle 1 is at the bottom, then across over here, this would also be angle 1. That if this here is angle 2, across would be another angle 2. They're the same size. So that means again here I would have a 1 plus 2 on the bottom to equal 180. On the top, 1 plus 2 equals 180. On the side, 1 plus 2 equals 180. So all of those same sides would equal 180 if you add them. And then number 4 is that our opposite sides are also equal. That means that this side is equal to this side, and the top is equal to the bottom. So if the top is 12, the bottom is 12. If the top is 17, the bottom is 17. If the left is 5, the right is 5. If the left is 22, the right is 22. They're the same. So then what makes a parallelogram, our definition, is that our opposite sides are parallel. So that means those opposite sides will never touch. So how this will be shown is with arrows. So those arrows mean they're parallel. This side and this side, those are parallel. They never touch. So all of these properties will always be true with the parallelogram. So if you have a parallelogram, you can use one of these to find a missing value. All right, and then rectangles. So the first thing you need to know about rectangles is all of these things that we just said are also true for a rectangle. We are not going to write them again. What we will start with is on our rectangle, our first property that we'll write is all properties of a parallelogram. So that means all of those properties up there are also true for the rectangle. So the diagonals bisect, same side angles add to 180 degrees, opposite angles are equal, opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel. All of that is true for a rectangle. But there are two more specific things that make a rectangle a rectangle. So one of those is that the diagonals are actually equal here. So we said on the parallelogram, we said up here that part 1 and part 1 will be equal, part 2 are equal, but this part 1 here and this part 2, those might be different, and it's okay if those are different. But on a rectangle, it will all be the same. So on a rectangle, this diagonal will be equal to this diagonal. Didn't quite go to the corner. So those whole things are equal. So all four parts are the same. And then our definition for a rectangle is that it has 4 right angles, or 4 90-degree angles. So that means this corner is 90, this corner is 90, this corner is 90, and this corner is 90. So that's how a rectangle is different from a parallelogram. Those diagonals are equal and all angles are right. It has 4 right angles. So you'll use these properties to answer a few questions about rectangles and parallelograms. If you need help on the practice, please let me know, because it's taking these and then putting numbers with it. Anyway, if you have questions, ask me. All right? Good luck.